You own your phone, right? You can hold it, you can take it apart, you can even smash it if you want. It feels real, tangible. But what about the money in your bank account, the stocks in your portfolio, or all those digital movies you've bought? Do you really own them in the same way? This question might seem simple, but the answer is surprisingly complex, and it reveals a lot about the world we live in. We're going to dive deep into what ownership truly means in the 21st century. By the end of this video, you might look at everything you think you possess in a completely new light. Let's start with something we all use every day, a bank account. You check your balance and it says you have, let's say, $1,000. You feel secure, thinking your money is safe, but where is it? Is there a little box in a giant vault with your name on it, filled with $1,000 in cash? Not at all. The number you see on your screen is essentially an IOU from the bank. It's a digital entry in a massive ledger, a promise that the bank owes you that amount. When you use your debit card or transfer money, you're not moving physical cash. You're instructing the bank to adjust its digital records, reducing its debt to you and increasing its debt to someone else. The entire system is built on trust. You trust that when you go to an ATM, the bank will honor its promise and give you physical currency. This system works incredibly well most of the time. But it also highlights that your ownership is one step removed from the actual cash. The bank takes your deposited money and lends it out to others to make a profit. This is how the financial system operates. Your ownership is of a claim, a right to demand payment, rather than ownership of a specific pile of bills. It's a crucial distinction, and it's our first clue that modern ownership is far more abstract than we think. Now, let's move from the bank to the stock market. You buy a share of a big tech company. You're an owner now, right? You get a little buzz thinking you own a piece of this global empire, but what does that actually entitle you to? Can you walk into their headquarters and take an office chair home because you're a part owner? Of course not. Owning a stock doesn't give you rights to the company's physical assets. You can't claim a server, a desk, or even a branded pen. What you actually own is a bundle of abstract rights. Primarily, it's a claim on a portion of the company's future profits, usually distributed as dividends. You also typically get the right to vote on certain corporate matters, like electing the board of directors. Your share is a piece of paper, or more likely today, a digital entry that represents a legal agreement. Its value fluctuates based on the collective belief of millions of other people about the company's future prospects. So, again, your ownership isn't of a physical thing. It's an abstract, legally defined relationship with a corporate entity, all powered by a shared consensus in the market. It's less like owning a car and more like owning a promise tied to a complex economic game. This brings us to the digital world, where things get even stranger. Think about your library of digital movies, ebooks, or video games. You clicked the Buy Now button. You paid the money. It's yours forever, right? Well, read the terms of service. In almost every case, you haven't bought the movie or the game itself. You've purchased a license to access and use that content. This license is a fragile agreement between you and the company, and the terms of that agreement can often be changed by the company without your consent. We've seen instances where digital platforms have removed, purchased content from users' libraries because of licensing disputes or a service shutting down. The movie you thought you owned can simply vanish. Your ownership is conditional. It depends entirely on the continued operation and policies of the platform you bought it from. You don't possess the digital file in the way you'd possess a DVD. You possess a key, and that key can be taken away. This shift from possession to access is one of the most significant changes in the concept of ownership in our lifetime. Let's consider another form of intangible ownership: creative work. A musician writes a song. They own it. A writer finishes a novel. It's theirs. But what is this thing they own? You can't hold a song in your hand. You can't weigh a story. What they own is an intellectual property right, specifically a copyright. This is a legally granted monopoly on the right to make copies of their work. It's the right to control how their creation is reproduced, distributed, and performed. The value isn't in a single physical object, but in the control over countless potential copies. When you buy a musician's album, you're buying one authorized copy, but the artist retains the fundamental ownership of the song itself. This form of ownership is purely a creation of law and social agreement. Without a legal system to enforce copyright, the concept of owning a song would be meaningless. It's another powerful example of how ownership has evolved from the tangible to the purely conceptual. Our right to control ideas and information rather than physical matter. Finally, let's look up to the cloud. Your precious photos, your important documents, your entire digital life stored safely on a remote server. You upload them, you can access them from anywhere. But do you own them? This is a legal gray area that we are still figuring out. You created the data, so in principle, you own the copyright to your photos and writings. But they physically exist on a server owned by a massive corporation. Your access to that data is governed by a lengthy terms of service agreement, which, let's be honest, you probably didn't read. That agreement might give the company the right to scan your data, use it for advertising, or even delete it if you violate their terms or if their service changes. You have a right to access your data. But is that the same as owning it? If the company goes out of business, what happens to your digital memories? This situation perfectly encapsulates our modern dilemma. We've traded the certainty of physical possession for the convenience of cloud-based access. And in doing so, we've introduced a third party into our relationship with our own property. Our ownership is now mediated by corporate platforms and their legal frameworks. Okay? So what have we learned? From our bank accounts to our digital libraries, the idea of ownership is becoming increasingly abstract.
How?
It's less about physical possession, about holding something in your hand, and more about a complex web of rights, rules, and relationships. It's built on trust in banks, belief in markets, licenses from corporations, and rights granted by law. Modern ownership is a social and legal construct. It's a shared story we all agree to believe in because it allows our complex society to function. The next time you say, "I own this," take a moment to think about what you really mean. You possess it, or do you have a right to access it? Is it a tangible object or an abstract claim? Rethinking ownership isn't just a philosophical exercise. It helps us understand the power structures of our world and make more conscious choices about how we interact with it. What do you think? What's one thing you own that feels less real now? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if this made you think, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the concepts that shape our lives.